Let's find Nathen. Let's see. Hello, hello. I am just finding Nathen. Just finding our guest today. Hello, hello, hello. Give us just a minute here while we find Nathen. There we go. Sending him an invite right now. So here we go. All right, Nathen should be coming on any second now. Hello, hello. All right, we sent him in the request. He should be connecting. There he is. Awesome.
What is up, Summer?
What is up? All right, here we are. We're going to make it happen this time. Last time we had some tech issues, but now it's on.
It's on.
So, okay, welcome to those that are joining now, those that have joined. So today, I've got Nathen Aaren on, and he was actually on our podcast, I think it was last week, or no, 2 weeks ago. And we had an incredible conversation about your story, and what people really loved about it was, how do I fund this amazing dream idea that I have for a business when I don't have money right now? How do I do this? And you're like the perfect person to talk to about that. And it really ties into what we talk about a lot here, which is your elevator pitch. And I know we're going to talk about that today, why that is so important when it comes to pitching your idea to somebody who could be funding your dream business. So before we get into all of that, I just wanted to give some highlights of what we're going to cover. Let's talk about what you do and what problem you solve, how you solve it, and how you make people's lives better.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. So what I do is I help people plan, fund, and build their dream businesses. I love working with people who are like what I call heart-centered, which is basically people that are really loving and caring and want to do great things in the world. So yeah, I basically help them plan it, because sometimes you can climb up the wrong mountain and realize 5 years later that you're climbing up the wrong mountain and that you spent all this time doing the wrong thing. Then I help people, once they get really clear on what it is, I help people fund it, getting money for their personal expenses, like their mortgage or their rent, their bills, their food, and their business expenses, like hiring people, marketing budget, whatever they need to be able to make their business flourish, and then building it as well, scaling. I love helping people in that area. And this goes for people who are broke, people who are wealthy that want to start another business or scale, and for people who are looking to transition from a corporate job into doing their own thing. So it's pretty much for anyone, regardless of where you are financially.
So awesome. Let's talk a little bit about like an exciting, a time that you have done this that was super, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just pulled this off and got this funded.
Yeah, totally. And anyone that's listening, just as I tell this story, just think about your own personal situation, because you might think of like the things that you would use this money for. It's really important, because for some people it's like, I don't really need anything for my personal expenses, but what would I be able to do with the money differently than if I spend my own money? And my example of that, as I go into this story about an exciting time where that happened, is if you are going to say shoot videos and start doing a video series. Maybe if you do it by yourself, you do it with your phone, and you would have your friend help you out, and you would just go online and share it to your current followers. But if you had the money to do it, then maybe you would get a video team, and you would have someone help you write little scripts, and you would have like a professional team around you, and it would kind of stretch you out of your comfort zone and make you a little bit nervous, as opposed to just starting from ground zero. Now, I'm a huge proponent for people to actually do the starting with your phone, start with yourself or your friend, just get going, get started, don't use any excuses. But at the same time, why do it the poor person's way versus just doing it with all the resources that you need? And then when you put it out there, you're not like, I hope someone sees this thing that I spent so much time on. You actually have a marketing budget. You can have maybe hire a PR agency. And so that's what's so important about it. And that leads me into, I think my first story is the most fun one, because I was not doing very well in life, and I had someone call me up. And it just goes to show, this story goes to show, it was an accident. I didn't say, hey, I'm going to start figuring out how to get people funding. I basically had a gentleman contact me and say, hey, I want to hire you for what I was doing at the time, which was music production. He said, I want to hire you for music production. I said, okay, sounds great. Send me an email with some of your music. I'll take a listen, and I'll let you know what I think we can do. He sends me an email. I check out his music. I check out his music videos. I check out his social media. I'm like, this dude has it all. He has the look. He has a solid following. He has amazing music videos. He has great artwork. If I am to make more music for him, that's not really what I can do to serve him at my highest ability. So I thought about it, and I thought, he's got hundreds songs, and he needs more exposure. So I thought, why don't I help him make a deal or something? And so I reached out to some people in my contacts, and we brought him into some record labels, and tried to kind of hook him up with a deal. And we got one offer, and then someone else reached out and offered him an investment. And we thought, oh, this is interesting. It's not a record label, so we would have to do the work more like a business, but we would have the money to do it ourselves. And we ended up landing him that $1.4 million deal. So I got super lucky on my first shot. It was just kind of an idea, and it ended up working out. And from there, I thought, okay, I can start doing this. And is this just beginner's luck? But slowly but surely, I kept doing it again and again and again at smaller amounts. And it just ended up working so well. And that's when I got to start pivoting into saying, here's exactly who I want to help. Here's exactly how I want to help them. And I started building this framework out, and even did it for myself too. So it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so important to know. I mean, you have to know exactly who you want to help, who's that person, what is it that what's that transformation for them? Like we talk about a lot when it comes to working with your ideal clients, is really understanding what's a win for them, what's going to make them feel amazing. What are those feelings for your ideal clients?
That is an awesome question. I love that. Well, if anyone watching can tap into that feeling of when you just could use some more money for something specifically, whether it be in your personal life, you're struggling. I know when I was homeless for a while, as you know, we talked about it on the podcast.
Yep.
I was homeless for a while, and I remember saying to myself, if I just had some money to have a roof over my head, and maybe a little bit more, so that I could focus on this business without having to struggle, without having to juggle a job. That might be another thing. Some people are like, hey, I got enough money, I'm good to go, but I have no time to spend. I can spend my money, I can't spend my time, because I get home from work, I'm exhausted. Maybe you have a family, maybe you have other obligations, and it's just so challenging to actually put in the work necessary to break through those barriers to have a successful business. And I can't even fathom how some people do that. It's absolutely amazing. But the feelings, I believe, are obviously, there's the big win, right? The big win of getting the actual money and celebrating. But I think one of the big wins that is kind of underestimated is the clarity of people planning their life out. And what I like to say is, you have a one-page vision that you can hold up in front of your hands, and just imagine this in your mind's eye. Like you're holding up a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, it says exactly what your best life, your dream business is. And you say, okay, this makes me a little nervous because it's a little bit of a stretch. But if I can make what is on this one sheet of paper happen, I'll be the happiest person in the world. And then you strive through that process, enjoying it, because the way that we plan out people's lives in the dream life planning process that I teach is not about reaching a goal. It's about surrounding yourself on a day-to-day basis. The activities that you are forced to do in your dream business are things that make you happy. So if you're the type of person where you love talking with others and being outgoing and brainstorming and coming up with ideas and geeking out about something, then you need to place that in your day-to-day activities. The dream business ends up being a success on day one before you even launch, because you're enjoying the process. If you like to be out in nature, how can you build being out in nature into a requirement of your business succeeding? It's like, these are the things that will make the difference between us kind of like leapfrogging from success to success and having a bunch of like challenges in between each of these lily pads of
Yeah.
success, and enjoying the entire process, and then looking back and saying, wow, I literally enjoyed my entire life. Sure, there were ups and downs, but if nothing really bad was happening, my default emotion was joy. And that's what we want to
Yes.
build into people's lives. So really the funding is just a small part of it. That's just going to allow us to kind of do it the right way, instead of kind of doing it the poor person's way, as I call it sometimes. But the real joy comes from planning it out so incredibly well that we have this life that is kind of just built, that the joy is built into our day-to-day activities.
Yes, absolutely. We've got Arturo here who's asking if we can take questions. Are you game for some questions?
I'm game for some questions. I love some
All
questions.
right, Arturo, fire away with your questions. And while he's submitting that, I love that so much. And what I love is the business is a success on day one, and that's a hard thing for people to see or even visualize when they're in the place of, but I don't have the money. I can think about this dream, but I have so much. It can't happen. It can't happen because I have all these barriers, right? I'm working too much in my day job. I can't even build this right now, or there's challenges just going on with the way the world is right now, and it's hard for them to get there. But I think when you talk about that vision, if you can look at that each day, you start to put yourself in that feeling of, wait a minute, I can totally visualize this. Like if you just have it in front of your face and you see something that reminds you of that feeling, it's amazing how much you start to do the things that need to happen, that like push you forward. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so far ahead now. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah,
Arturo's asking a draw shop question. Actually, that's interesting because he is asking about videos as a marketing tool, and you talked about that earlier.
mm-hmm.
And I loved how you said how you can just take your own camera to do something, to film your idea. Let's kind of segue in terms of talking about video and messaging within your video. Let's talk about that in terms of pitching your idea to somebody. So if we're talking about funding a business, trying to get money for a new business, how can we utilize video and messaging to make sure that people get what we do and are, really inspired to take action and be involved in that?
Totally. Yeah, I believe that when it comes to really this this whole era, really, everything's getting disrupted, right? The classic examples are taxi turns to Uber, so on and so forth. Amazon, there's all these different disruptions. And when it comes to pitching for funding, the classic way that people think you're supposed to do it, which is, like I said, the wrong way, is to go online and to try to find like a grant or something like that, and then to fill out the application and send it in and then pray, right? And
Yeah.
that's just not a good way to do it unless you want to do
Right.
1,000 applications. If you're into that whole struggle story where you send 1,000 applications and you get one maybe and then 1,000 more and you get one, yes, then sure. But the way that I teach people how to do this is to actually find a local, if you're going for a grant, to find a local grant office and walk in with a pitch deck. And a pitch deck is something that I help people build. But basically, they go in and they speak to a real human being and they chat with them and they show them their P&L and or their financial projections and all the things you need inside of the pitch deck. But these days with COVID and with quarantine and all that stuff, or if you're doing one that's a little bit further out, video is a perfect way to do that, because what ends up happening is so many people are applying for this same grant. So if you can show up in person or on video and share yourself, your heart with them, I mean, so much of our communication is not just in the words that we say, but in how we say it, in our vocal inflections and our facial expressions. And so I think it's incredibly powerful. Not only that, but there's things like Zoom and Live and all that. But by actually creating a presentation that is ever evolving on video, you can perfect that video down to the second over time. So you can have one, you can create it, you can send it in, but as you're continuing, you get better and better and better and better. I have a good friend named Gabe Schillinger. He has a successful business and does funnels and things of that nature. Won like the 2 Comma Club Award with Russell Brunson. And he tells me, he said, hey, if you're going to sell something online, which is a little bit of a different topic, he said, you should do a webinar every week for a year before you have a sales video or a recorded webinar, so that you perfect it down to the second. And that can go for everything else as well. If you're creating a pitch to get funding, if you're selling something on a sales video, on a website, it's like, let's really dial it in and get it perfect. And sometimes we don't know what that is. And so that's why it's important to get people who can really help us with that, to understand, like, what is a hook and what is the call to action and how does that all work? And so that's why it's important, like, to have a community or like a mastermind or like some sort of a professional, or hire someone or just do a lot of research online to make sure that the video isn't just, hey everybody, I'm Nathan and just wanted to tell you a little bit about what I have to offer. It's like, by then they're already gone.
They're already gone. They're already gone. Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. People need to hear that pain point right at the beginning so that they're hooked. Like, you're going to address something that I'm struggling with. Then it's like, okay, well, how are you going to help me with that pain point? And then after that, it's like you said before, it's that transformation feeling. It's that, how are you going to feel at the end? And, that's something which is why we started these lives, is to talk to people like you, because you're successfully doing that in your business. People are like, yep, they immediately know why they're coming to work with Nathen. And they immediately know, okay, this is how he's going to help me. And this is how I'm going to feel afterwards. And you hit all of those things. And then people are like, yes, I'm in. And that's what we're doing with elevator pitches when we work with people. And just that simple, let's just nail that part first, and then we can go into the other messaging. But if you know that, then you've got this foundation. And it really is true for anything that you do, whether it's just, I have an idea for a business, or I'm trying to get funding for a business, or now I'm trying to sell widgets, or I'm trying to sell a service, whatever it is, having all of those things answered is just so important. So and
I have to just call something out really quick. If you guys notice the brilliance of how Summer just kind of coached me through the elevator pitch, because she asked me what I do, and I said I help people plan, fund, and build their dream businesses. And her next question was, how does that make people feel? And that's because that is a part of the elevator pitch that I didn't say. And so I need to take note on that as well and add that in, because I do have, like, on my website, it's like right about the headline is the pain and the result, and then down below is the feeling and emotion. But I don't necessarily say that every time that I get asked what I do. Sometimes the feeling I give people is just off of just my overall energy, but I'm not saying like, oh, this is the feeling that you're going to receive immediately within the first 15 seconds of me talking. So that's a lesson that I just got from you today.
Yeah, well, I think because then you've brought them into that feeling of winning, into that feeling like you said your business is a success on day one because you already know where you're going and you're enjoying it because you're like this is that feeling. I'm totally gonna like win. Everybody wants to win. You know what I mean? You just want that feeling of I'm doing something good. I feel pumped up. I'm enthusiastic, and it's just an amazing feeling to have. Um, yeah, I love so much what you do. It's just because you take people through that journey of going like, yeah, that would be cool. Yes, I have this dream, but I can't do it. That's what they're thinking, to going, no, you actually can do it, and here's where you're going to be. And you know that because you've lived it. That's your life. So you know exactly what they feel like before, during, and after.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point, and thank you for that messaging. Holy cow! Like to make your business a success on day one. I mean, I know I said it, but you ricocheted back to me, and I'm like, I need to start using that more. But people who say, uh, "Yeah, but not me," or "That would be great, but," that is at the core of all of us. I mean, I still to this day say it about my next level, right? I still say like, oh, like, am I going to be able to do that? Is that really
Yeah.
possible? Which is a good thing because it means we're setting our goals high. But I think ultimately, if we just really remember the importance of asking for the feelings that we want in those moments where we're uncertain, that's what I've been doing with myself. So if I find myself having doubt or uncertainty, I tell myself two things. One is I say, I'm proud of you because you're setting your goals high enough that they're scary. And then the
Yeah.
second thing I say is, well, uh, if I don't like the way I'm feeling right now, let's start with what I have control over right now, which is how I feel in the moment. So gut check, heart check, head check, and just say, okay, if I'm going to build this, let me start it from a place. Let me set the groundwork, the foundation of the house. Let me make sure that the soil is really nice and full of worms and all cool stuff that we need to make the soil really nice. And that is our emotions. That is my feelings. That is, I just want to feel good so that I'm building this on fertile ground, so to speak. And that is a huge life lesson that no one's ever going to master. It's just a continual, ongoing thing. But that's what we're doing this for, right? We're doing this so that we can feel good, so that we can feel stability, so that we can kind of be further up on our hierarchy of needs, so that we can help others and serve others and do awesome stuff in the world. And it's like, if you were to draw a line down a sheet of paper, and on one side you were to put every worry you've ever had in your whole life, and on the other side you were to put every time they came true, it'd be like a gazillion worries and like maybe 50 times that it came true. So it's like, hey, like look at your scorecard, look at your history, look at your win and losses. Like you've already succeeded most of the time anyway. How many goals have you set that ultimately failed and were done, right? Some of them might not be
Right.
accomplished yet, but probably the ones that didn't get accomplished, either A, led you to a better place, or B,
Hmm.
are just not done yet. They're not
Yep.
accomplished yet. So it's so important for us to kind of weave in those habits into our soul, into our daily lives of just continuing to master the art. It's like I feel like life is a dance, and like if you don't learn how to dance, then you're gonna stumble all over the place, and then you better have a
Yep.
sense of humor. But
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
if you do really well and you learn how to dance and you just like have grace with yourself and you learn how to dance with yourself and with life and with this reality, and you're like, okay, here we are in this existence where we get full autonomy to like touch our own faces and like walk outside when we want to. Like we're not told we can't do these things. So we might as well embrace the kind of experience that we're in and say, okay, I'm going to put tools in my tool belt that are going to help me emotionally, that are going to help me in the real world with my real tangible results that I get in every step of the way, so that I can live a life where, like, unless something really bad is happening, that, like I said, default emotion is joy.
Yes. I love that. I love that so much. I'm so inspired now. I know that you've got some amazing things that you're headed off to do. So we just have another a couple seconds with you, really. But really quickly, where can people find more information about you?
Yeah, well, if anyone wants to text me, that's my main way of communicating and serving people for free. I have a phone number, which is 310-807-1998. I'll say it one more time. That's 310-807-1998. It's a text messaging platform, so it goes directly to my phone like my normal text, but there are also some like auto texts that'll be sent to you that basically say like, hey, so-and-so, what's your business? Tell me about it. And then you can send that to me and I'll respond. It's a really fun way for, like I said, for me to serve people for free. I also have my website, which is nathen.tv. I spell it funny because I'm a weirdo. It's NATHEN.tv. And that's going to basically have all the things I can do to serve you, live events. Sometimes I host free ones. I do more than just this as well. Sometimes I send my music. I'm working on a music album as a singer and producer, and also a reality series called Chasing My Dreams, which the first episode is going to air in December, and then every month for the rest of 2021. So all kinds of cool stuff there.
And one more time for that number, because we're getting some asking to type that. 310.
Yeah, 807.
807.
1998.
1998. All right. And I just posted that in there.
Cool.
Awesome. And then, of course, if you're watching this, follow Nathen.
Yes.
And you
also,
I'm sure that
I have one more thing that I'm really proud of. So we just released a new podcast with Brendan Burchard. It's called the Marketing and Influence Podcast. And we have all kinds of amazing
Brendan.
people.
We love Brendan at the Draw Shop.
Yes.
He's awesome.
We got a great one with Jay Shetty, a great one with Glow Graphics, another episode with just so many amazing people, Jenna Kutcher, Tom Bilyeu, and so just check out the Marketing and Influence Podcast. It's just so it's so amazing to be able to work with people on that level. So I'm super proud to be a part of that as well.
So awesome. I love everything that you're doing. And for all of you that joined us today, thank you so much. And if you yourself need help with your elevator pitch, we are going to be taking a select few live on these Tuesdays. We would love to schedule you. So send me a DM through the Draw Shop right here that you're watching on, and let us know if you want some help. We'll dissect your elevator pitch live. In the meantime, Nathen, thank you so much for joining us today. Like, so many amazing pieces of information. So good. And we will repurpose this and put it on YouTube in case anybody missed it. Cool. Thank you.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.